Welcome back to ESPN FC. We've been hanging out in New York this week because, like I said, it has been the place to be as we take in the semifinals and the final of the FIFA Club World Cup. And now we are down to two. This is it, an all-European final. Chelsea up against PSG, an enticing matchup, I would say. Robbo, let me come to you. How do you see this going?
It's going to be difficult for Chelsea. We've just talked about how Real Madrid didn't press the ball, how they didn't be compact either. You've got to try and make PSG as predictable as possible, as Bayern did for 30, 40 minutes in that first game. So Chelsea have to try and make PSG as predictable as they possibly can, which is difficult. Force them down one side of the field, lock them in down one side of the field, make it difficult for players in midfield to rotate and spin the ball out to the other side to get Hakimi breaking down that right-hand side. But when they have the ball, they've got to make sure they break into the space where Hakimi's left. Neto, I think, was excellent yesterday, if he can produce the same sort of dribbling skills. They've got to make sure when they play out from the back, they play out from the back well, which they can do, Chelsea. And quite often it's the Chalobah, the right-sided centre-half, who has time on the ball, because that's how they try and work it, that he, when he comes forward with it, picks the right passes into the likes of Gusto, out to the wide right player, to get the midfield player, Cole Palmer, into the game. But again, key will be that central midfield for Chelsea. If those players play well, and we don't know whether the central midfield player is going to be fit, it's going to be a tough game, but Chelsea will be better than Real Madrid, I think.
Oh, Chelsea better than Real Madrid. Frank, let me come to you for this one, because I know you're an emotional guy. You feel a lot of feelings, and these are two of your favorite clubs, of course, Paris being there in Paris, and of course your boys from Chelsea. How do you see this one going?
Well, I've tried to be optimistic for Chelsea, but according to what I've seen from both clubs, it's hard for me to not predict, like any other team which plays against Paris Saint-Germain, to not lose like 3-0 or 4-0. That's what it is, and I'm scared for the young boys of Chelsea, because that could be a lesson. Will it be a good lesson or a bad one? I don't know. But Chelsea will have to be very, very good, as Robbo said, very strong in the middle of the park with Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, to make sure that they can hold Joao Neves, Fabian Ruiz, and Vitinha, of course. So it's going to be a big task for all the Chelsea players, but the opportunity to surprise everybody. Already, I'm very happy with what they've done so far in that Club World Cup. Reaching the final is great. Now the last step is the hardest one, and I'm not sure, like any other club in the world, they can cope with Paris Saint-Germain.
Well, Frank, yesterday on the show, we were speaking about how all of us have been very impressed by the new kid on the block for Chelsea, and Joao Pedro. He was saying the right things. He, of course, scored 2 goals yesterday. He's looking very full of confidence.
He was playing against his former club, so he didn't want too much celebrating, but that was impressive, really impressive, because you can feel the guy's there, he's confident about his football, he knows what he can do, and he already feels his teammates. That's very good for Chelsea. We all know that, like Arsenal, Chelsea needed a real striker, and hopefully, I hope it's going to last like that. Joao Pedro is the future and the great striker that Chelsea needed.
Well, Augie, you're going to be at the final this weekend as well. You heard it there from Robbo. He feels Chelsea actually could be better than Real Madrid against PSG. Frank can't really find that much of an argument for them. Where do you stand?
Well, if you look at the two teams, you pick the best starting 11 that Chelsea have got and the best one that PSG have got, and not a single Chelsea player gets in the PSG team. I don't think you can find any single one. Seriously, I mean, you could make a case of Joao Pedro, but then you can't, because you look at the PSG forwards and they're just so good. So I can't see any way that PSG don't win this game unless Chelsea have an incredible game and that PSG can't handle the heat. But I'm just kind of making like excuses here that PSG might not win. PSG should win quite comfortably, but yeah, I think that Chelsea will be better than Real, because I think all the players will work for the team. But a big question mark, as Robbo said, is Moises Caicedo. He went off on Tuesday against Fluminense with an ankle injury. If he's not fit, then they've got their best kind of ball-winning midfielder that could actually disrupt PSG a little bit. So if Moises Caicedo's not there, you can forget it, Chelsea. But even with him, I think it's going to be really, really hard.
Ale, you went against the grain last time, choosing Real Madrid. I'm just reminding you how wrong you were. This time around, are you going against the grain again, or will it just be another predictable win for PSG?
Go against the grain. Go on.
Go against the grain, Ale. Find something for Chelsea.
Yeah. See, I'm not dumb. I said yes. I'm not dumb.
Even when you pick Real Madrid.
Again.
I was a younger Ali.
I was a younger Ali
back then. A bit naive Ali.
In that case,
He's not
I said that
naive
I
now.
was being selfish because I had selected Real Madrid to win this competition sometime last week when we did the prediction. So I was also being stubborn, which are things that are pretty usual.
And you didn't think Xavi Alonso was going to pick that team.
I also, yes,
Oh, okay.
my conversation with Xavi Alonso ahead of the match did not work.
No.
Obviously did not work. No, I am really concerned about Chelsea and that midfield. And the numbers don't work already for Chelsea in that midfield. So Caicedo has to be at his best. Enzo Fernandez, in terms of what he can do offensively, is going to be very limited because he's going to have a lot of responsibilities defensively. And you're going to have to demand that Cole Palmer drops in a defensive position when Chelsea doesn't have the ball. Otherwise, it's already a built-in 3v2 through the midfield. And if you do that with PSG, we've already established how good their midfield is. According to Mark Ogden, it's the best thing since Barcelona, this, that, and the other. Okay, look, if that's indeed the case, then a 3v2 is not going to work for Chelsea. I see PSG being, at this point, a far superior version of what Chelsea wants to become.
Shaka?
Yeah, I don't see it any different, in all honesty. Listen, Joao Pedro has given Chelsea a different look, but still, I don't think anywhere near good enough to be better than PSG. Better than Real Madrid, certainly, but as we kind of all attested earlier, Real Madrid quite easily have lost by 8, so that's a pretty low bar for Chelsea to climb. This PSG team is just too good. About the only hope you give Chelsea at this point is, thanks to our own walking, talking thermometer, it's hot out there.
It's hot out there.
As our own walking thermometer, Mark Ogden will...
Does Frank get a cut of the transfer fee for Joao Pedro? Because he did say that he found it last year.
He said that he discovered the
discovered him.
You didn't know that he is a coordinator of the talent scouting department. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, he discovered Joao Pedro. Nobody had seen him play until Frank did.
Well, let's actually go to Frank on another talent, and it's one that we're not going to argue about, Frank. It's Dembélé, of course, but I know how much you love Ballon d'Or, so is Dembélé the winner now for the Ballon d'Or, or are you still going to give a nod to Lamine Yamal?
No. For me, Ousmane Dembélé could win the Ballon d'Or, but you have to think about also you could give to other people, like Fabian Ruiz. He's been outstanding with Spain. He's been outstanding with Paris Saint-Germain. You could give to Hakimi as well, but nobody cares about fullbacks and midfielders. So Ousmane is really in a very good position to win it, and I really wish him to win it, even if I don't care about the Ballon d'Or. But definitely, it's going to be a fight. And if they win the Club World Cup, if he carries on working like he does and be successful like he does, Ousmane Dembélé has all the chances to get that fantastic trophy.
If he was going to throw out names, and he mentioned Fabian Ruiz and mentioned Hakimi, then you mentioned Vitinha.
Yep.
Who not only won the Champions League,
Exactly.
but also won a Nations League and seems well on his way to winning Club World Cup.
Augie, what about you? If Dembélé puts in a big performance in the final, finds the back of the net again, or even Vitinha as well, who gets the nod for Ballon d'Or for you?
Well, I just wrote about that today, actually, just about this game. I just thought Dembélé probably sealed the deal with his goal in the first half. A fantastic goal, also got an assist as well. Look, I mean, the Ballon d'Or's handed out in September, so there's not much time for anybody else to do anything right now. But, Frank's right. Hakimi's had a fantastic year. I remember seeing Trent Alexander-Arnold say that he went to Real Madrid because he wants to be, or one of his reasons is to become the first right-back to win the Ballon d'Or. I think Hakimi's way ahead of him in that race, and I think Hakimi could win it. But let's be honest, a midfielder won it last year with Rodri. I don't see that happening again. I think Dembélé wins it by a long chalk. I think maybe Yamal second, but Hakimi would deserve to be in the top 3.
All right, well, Mark Ogden, Frank Leboeuf, we're going to let you go. Mark, we know that you're absolutely melting. Go get yourself some AC. Frank always has something exciting to do in Paris, so we're going to let you guys go. Thanks so much for joining us. All right, well, the big final of the Club World Cup is this Sunday. Chelsea up against Paris Saint-Germain, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on DAZN. Do not miss it.